Welcome to another episode of Low Budget Shooting. I've got a real treat here. I've got the Remington Model 8. This gun was manufactured from 1906 to 1936, and this one right here was made in 1923. This firearm right here is touted as being the first successful semi-automatic firearm. It's a John Browning design, and it's kind of modeled after the Remington 11 shotgun, and the fact that this barrel retracts. When the gun is shot, this barrel actually comes back and pushes the bolt back in order for the gun to fire. The gun, this one right here, it came in like 5 different rounds. I know there was a 35 rim, and there's the 30 rim, which this one is, and there was like a 250, I think. There was a couple other ones too. This gun was also used during the Cloney and Bide shootout. The FBI had one, and they had a modified magazine for it that an aftermarket company made at the time. But this magazine does not come out, and it holds 5 rounds. The one used in that shootout was a 35 rim. This one right here uses the 30 rim, which originally was called the 30-30, but they changed the name on it because it's not the same. If you're doing reloads on it like I've done, it uses the same reloading data that a 30-30 does, but the difference is the shell. They stopped making these, Remington stopped making the 30-30 rim in 1961 or so, and some other companies made it a little later into the 80s, but now it's very hard to find brass for it. I paid like $2 a piece from Graff and Sons to get the brass for this. The main difference between the 30-30 and the 30 rim is the neck is a little bit different. I'm going to show you a close-up of this, and also it's rimless, because when you're loading stacked rounds, they have to be rimless in order for them to slide off, or the rim will catch on the next one. So, and the other beauty of this gun is you didn't have to use soft tips or round points on it, because it's not, tube fed like the lever action firearms. This is going in a magazine, so you could actually use a Spitzer type bullet. I've loaded some rounds. I'm going to take some shots down range and see what these guys chronograph at. Okay, this gun was designed to be loaded with a stripper clip. There's a notch up here, and I'm going to show that to you when I'm doing it. So now I just got to load it one at a time. So you just take these and push them down in there. It's not too difficult to do that. And they go in nicely. I've got 2 different loads because I'm trying to find out where they're at. One's got obviously a little bit more gunpowder than the other one. So there we go. And in order to shut the bolt, there's a little lever on the side that you do in order to make it work. So let's see how this thing chronographs, and see if I can do this without shooting my my chronograph. I actually am I'm also shooting at a 77-yard target, and I want to see if I can hit it. This is the safety on the side. It's kind of like an AK-47 safety. Let's see how she does. She's got a steel butt plate on it. Hopefully I can't even see the target, but here we go. (1900 feet per second). I think I want to be around 2,000 on this. It doesn't kick too bad. I like that the shells are landing right here. Safety works. The trigger on this is nice. I think it's like 5 pounds. There's a 2,022 feet per second. Okay, now I'm starting to feel it. And my elbow is banging on the table. There we go. Okay, and the bolt holds back. So we were averaging 2,047 feet per second. That's pretty good. That's right where I want to be. Interesting enough, these things never really saw wartime. There's a great website on these things, and there's really a video out there that somebody did. I can't remember who it was, and I'll give them a plug, but they did an hour-long review on this, and he had some records that he found where I think they were used in airplanes back in World War I believe. And there was one recorded episode of it, but it never made it into the military in any degree that was written about. And right now, I'll tell you what, it just shot 5 rounds with no problem. And this gun's over 100 years old. Another thing about these guns too is there was 5 different versions of them. There was an A, and then some reason they skipped B and went directly to C, and then they had a D, E, and F. This is the standard. This is what they called the Model 8 standard. And then they came out with a C that was called a special, and it had kind of a checkered forearm here, and the checkered forearm, and then the checkered stock. There's also on the sides of this some little curves that came out that they did away with later in the Model 81. This one has them. There was a Peerless, a version called Peerless that had some peep sights in the back, and then they had an Expert that had engraving on them, one called an Expert, and then they had one that was called the Premier, and the top engraving artisans from Remington engraved those, and they're super rare, and there's beautiful pictures of them. I can only imagine what those cost. So the 1981, I mean the Model 8 actually was called the auto-loading rifle, the Remington auto-loading rifle from 1906 to 1911. And then they called it the Model 8. And I can't remember when it was. I'm going to put a date in here. But this ended up being called the Model 81 before it went out of production. In total, there was like 69,000 units of this gun made. So there you have it. The Remington Model 8, the first successful semi-auto rifle, and well, claimed to be in the United States. One other thing really quick before I round up here. This gun was also made in 1911 by FN, and they called it the Model 1900. This was around that time period when John Browning was trying to get royalties for every gun that he sold, and Winchester wasn't really a big fan of it. So he went over to FN, and they did some business with him on it. So the gun was sold there also, but they didn't sell as many. It wasn't as popular in Europe as it was here in the United States. And there you go. That's pretty much a quick history of the Remington Model 8. I think it's a really cool gun. The only thing I'm wondering, I kind of want to refinish it. I mean, it's got nice patina. But maybe you guys let me know in the comments. I just like restoring old guns and reblowing them, but I know sometimes it hurts the value. Anyways, let me know. I appreciate all you all watching. I appreciate the group of subscribers that kicked in to try to get me to 1,000. And I want you all to shoot safe, and we'll see you on the next one. So this is kind of cool. I was shooting from 77 yards with iron sights, and I hit 8 of them on the target. The other one was when I shot kind of high on purpose because I was trying to get it on the chronograph. So I guess that ain't bad for iron sights, 77 yards.